As a sports performance coach who works with high school, college, and professional athletes, there's some really great moments that we get to experience together, but there are also some not so great moments. And I think it's really important that we grow from every moment, and I believe that we can do that. I always help my athletes to do that as well. And I'm going to share with you 4 questions that we use and also a process in working with athletes that I think can help you in any aspect of life. The first part of that is reflecting. And after every practice, after every game, we talk about reflecting, and we have them write down in journals, what did I do well? I think a lot of times, even in a great performance, an athlete can forget what they did well. Instead of just saying I was in the zone, we want to get to details that help them to understand, well, what exactly did you do well? Another question is just, what did I learn from that performance? So what did I do well and what did I learn? And there may be some things that they didn't do well, but we want them to learn from that, to gather insight from it. And I think that instead of just saying, well, I was horrible or I was awful, what specifically were some things that you could have done better, or maybe you weren't aggressive enough, maybe you weren't athletic enough, maybe you didn't trust your shot enough. And so those are the kinds of details that we're trying to get to. And I think in reflecting on that, after every performance, they can ask, what did I do well and what did I learn? And so that reflect piece is really important. And whatever you do, it's important to reflect on these moments and to understand, those things that you're doing well and also the things that you can learn from. The second part of that is learning. So in both of those questions, we're not only reflecting, we're writing down things that they did well and that they learned from, but to learn from that, to make sure that that insight, that detail, whatever they're capturing, even if it's only a couple of bullet points, that they learn from those moments. So reflect, learn, and then grow. And this leads to the third question. We want them to grow, not just to write that down, but to write down an answer to this question. What am I going to do in practice this week that's going to demonstrate that I learned from that previous moment, that previous game? And in your reflection this week and thinking about the things you're doing, it may not be in a sports contest, but what are those things you're going to do in preparing for those big moments in your life? And whatever that goal, whatever that project is, how are you going to implement that in client meetings or in interactions that you have with people or in leading your team? What is that one thing that you're going to demonstrate that you're going to do that shows that you're growing as a leader? And that's kind of the third step in the process. And then a fourth step is to flush. And I think this is really important because I heard an interview with Kobe Bryant one time, and when he was alive and playing in the prime of his career, he had a bad game. And he didn't have many bad games, but he had a bad game, wasn't a good shooting night, they lost. And one of the reporters asked him, Kobe, what are you going to do with that performance? What are you going to do with that game? He said, I'm going to flush it. And the reporter asked, flush it? He said, yeah, flush it, like flush it down the toilet. I'm flushing it and I'm moving on. Which leads to that fifth step. When we're doing these debriefs, we want them to flush, especially if it was a bad performance, and then move on. And I see so many athletes and teams hold on to those bad performances, and they think about things they could have done better, and they're not moving forward. And I think it's really easy in our lives that we can hold on to bad moments. We think about those, we worry about them, we lament, regret, whatever the word you want to use regarding that. And we don't move past it. And we've got to make sure that we're moving past those moments. That in some cases we flush them and then we move on. And I think this fourth question that I'll give you, not only what am I demonstrating in practice, but the fourth question is, what am I going to do in the next game to show that I've grown from this moment? And again, that may be a next client meeting from you. It may be the next talk you've got to give, whatever that moment might be. Making sure that you demonstrate that not only in the practices of your life, but also in the game. So those 4 questions, what did I do well? What did I learn? What am I doing in the practice and preparation to demonstrate that I've learned? And then what is the one thing I'm going to do in the next game or the next performance or next leadership moment that I have in my life to show that I'm learning and growing? So in those moments, we can grow from every moment. We can reflect, we can learn, we can grow, we can flush it, and we can move on. And I think it's really important that we practice that, and making sure that in every moment you have in your life, whether it be good or bad, that you're growing from those, and then as you look forward to future moments, that you're making the most of the moments in your life.